Peace, everybody. Welcome to the Vital Hoops podcast. My name is Fernando Cardenas, aka International XB, and I am your host. Today's episode is extremely special because we have an extremely special guest. Okay, today's guest is Toni Blackman, super hip hop ambassador extraordinaire, Toni Blackman. You know what I mean? For those of you who don't know, Toni Blackman is an artist, entrepreneur, consultant, one-on-one performance coaching, conference speaker, college lecturer, and artist in residence. Toni Blackman has participated in TED Talks. She did an amazing TED Talk about the cipher. She did Dove, Real Women in 2012, Ableton Loop Summit in 2018, amongst many other things. But most importantly, Toni Blackman is an amazing person, and I'm very humbled to have her here today with us. She's going to help us rap about what? About hip-hop. Hip-hop, our culture. Hip-hop, the culture of basketball. But we're going to get into that in a minute. Let's have Toni Blackman here with us today. Toni, are you there?
I am here.
What up, Toni? Welcome to the show.
What's good?
Thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
It's dope. It's very dope to have you.
Thank you for having me.
No doubt. So listen, let's get right into it, man. You know, like I said, you know, in the intro, you do a lot, but the culture, hip hop. Let's talk about it. What is hip hop to you? What does hip hop mean to you? And how has it been a part of your life?
Ah, man, hip hop has been a part of my life since I can remember, from childhood, from popping and locking, playing records when they was still on vinyl, then moving into cassettes and CD. And the culture has really been about community. It's about connection and about creativity. And not creativity in the sense of the way self-help books speak about it, but creativity in respect to culture. African cultural traditions, that descendants of Africa, it's just a part of who we are. If music is on, we dance, right?
Absolutely.
And if there's no music to play, we make it with our mouths.
That's right. Beatbox.
Right. And then the cipher. The cipher is the circle, represents 360 degrees. We pray in ciphers, we dance in ciphers, we drum in ciphers, we eat in ciphers. It's all a part of who we are, our essence. And hip hop is simply the contemporary manifestation of our tradition, our culture, and our roots.
Yeah. Yo, you hit it right there. And when you said that, I thought about, you know, when I was little, well, I first I started playing basketball, you know, and then I started playing ball when I was 6. And then at some point, basketball got me to the music, to rap music. And then the music got me to the culture. You know what I mean? But when I was young, I remember, me being Afro-Cuban. I remember when I was young in Cuba, a lot of people used to, talk down on hip hop and be like, this is not Cuban culture. It's not Cuban culture. And then there's a documentary I remember that I was watching about Cuban hip hop. And one of the old school pioneers of Cuban hip hop was like, listen, they always tell us that, hip hop is not Cuban culture. It's not Cuban culture. But guess what? It may not be Cuban culture, but it's African culture. So it's our culture. You know what I mean? And he hit it right there. I remember that as a kid, and that always stuck to me, because, they would say, hip hop is an American thing. It's the Yankees and this and that. And, when I heard that, I was like, nah, listen, this is us. This is part of us. All Afro descendants, we're at home when we're at home when we do hip hop. So it's key. It's key when you talk about it and you say, it's African culture, because it definitely is in so many ways. And it's a culture of resistance, Hip hop is a culture of resistance. And We can never forget that. So I think that's very important.
Right.
But
right.
Let me know how do you think hip hop has helped you do everything else that you do in life? You know what I mean? Because you do a lot, and that's in somehow, some way, it's always connected to the culture, right?
Right. And you know, that is not on purpose. It is because I have lived and breathed hip hop for such a long time. It's a part of my existence. Even when I tried to leave it alone, it showed back up in some way. And then even on my travels, you know, I've traveled to 48 different countries around the world. Somehow, some way, I'm going to meet the hip hop heads, right? And they're going to come to me. But hip hop, you know, the whole, there's a phrase that, you know, hip hop was really came, young people made something out of nothing, right? They needed something to do. They needed some way to express themselves. They needed an outlet. And that's how hip hop was born. Well, it's a very hip hop mentality, survival.
Okay.
It's hip hop, right? Like, and being able to conjure up solutions and create new things is hip hop. Innovation is hip hop.
No doubt.
The way the turntables were used, and the way hip hop gave birth to new technology.
No doubt. A lot of our people didn't have the opportunity to have instruments, but they found ways to make music.
Yes.
Turntable.
Yes.
No doubt.
Yeah. And even hip hop has taught us a lot of lessons, right? Like the word namo, the power of words, right? Words are very powerful.
Of course.
And when hip hop became overly commodified and we forgot about the essence got neglected, right? But as people started to notice, you will notice a lot of the tragedies in hip hop and rap music, hip hop culture, and I'm speaking specifically about rap music, have occurred because folks fell off the path. Folks neglected and disrespected the culture. Folks forgot the power of it because it became only about the profit that you could gain from it. And there were some people who not only lost their souls, but lost their lives. Because you can't dance with death.
Right.
Experience it. It's going to hit you, right?
Yeah, I feel.
And so I think that that's something that right now, Fernando, the world is going through a transformation. The world is going through an awakening. And of course, what's that song when Mos Def said? He said, if you want to know what's going on with hip hop, right? I can't remember the way he says it. You know, ask yourself what's going on with you. Like, think about what's going on.
I remember that.
And that's what's going on.
Said, wherever we go, whatever you do, that's what hip hop is gonna do. That's where hip hop is going.
Yes.
So worry about what you do. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, I remember that.
Yes.
Well,
that is.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, in some way, you know, hip hop, we never get credit for all the great things that we do as a culture. But the truth is that, you know, we influence world culture. You know what I mean? Without a doubt, we influence what's going on in the world, really.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at fashion,
yeah,
language,
exactly,
and words being added to the dictionary.
Of course, because these are elements of the culture. You know, the way we talk, the way we dress, all that those are elements of the culture. So no doubt.
Yeah.
No doubt. But listen, there's this one thing that has always bothered me. I don't know how you feel about it. You must be used to it too. But like, you know how when people talk about hip hop, they're always talking about rap or rap music or the rap industry. They're never talking about hip hop. You know what I mean? People say this is about hip hop, and then you start hearing them, and all they do is talk about top 10 songs in the radio.
Yeah,
or
like
whatever Drake is doing or whatever. Like, and it's really not about hip hop. It's just about rap music or the rap industry.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So why do you think that is? And how do you?
Well, I think that the focus is on that aspect of the culture, which is garnering the powers that be the most money, the most profit. And so that's where the attention goes and the energy goes. However, those who are hip hop heads, who are part of hip hop culture globally, recognize and acknowledge that there are many forms of creative expression in hip hop. Not only is there the rap, but there's DJing, there's dancing, There's not just graffiti, there's murals and all kind of art now. There's vocal percussion, there's beatboxing, there's fashion. There is a specific way in which hip hop heads acquire knowledge and express knowledge. There's the cipher. And of course, you know this, there's also basketball. Like there's all these connections that hip hop gives birth to, that hip hop is connected to, that goes so much deeper than a top 10 hit record. And unfortunately, there's a lot of the cats at the top, they don't even know the culture themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not necessarily artists, they're entertainers.
That's true.
They're hustlers, they're businessmen, but you can be a head and be both.
Yeah. Listen, we you know, well, now you met my man Alexei from great legendary hip hop group, Cuban hip hop group Obsession. So we were talking the other day because there was in Latin America, there's 3, you know, big time rappers, like some of the most famous, that got together and they had a discussion, right? Because they were talking about, you know, beef and certain things like that. And we were extremely disappointed because during the discussion, it was like an hour and a half discussion, and during the whole discussion, they only spoke about rapping and they never mentioned the culture. They never spoke about hip hop. They only spoke about, yeah, it's important to write. If you don't write, you're not a real MC, which I agree. But, you know, they mentioned a few things like that, but they never, you know, got into the culture. And we thought that was extremely important. And it was a shame that they didn't do that. But listen, I wanted to ask you, how do you feel now that we're talking a little bit about elements before we get into basketball? How do you feel about the 10th element that was included into, you know, into the hip hop culture, which, you know, health and wellness? How do you feel about that whole thing? Did you hear about that? And
you know, I glanced. I didn't read. I didn't go deeper. But it was one of those things where I just nod my head. Yeah. It makes sense though, right?
Yeah.
So if hip hop has been around all these years, and everyone who is a part of the culture is growing and maturing and learning and expanding their consciousness to include health and wellness, it just makes sense. I mean, you think about folks who are getting into growing your own food because it's necessary to learn. A lot of us don't know the first thing about growing parsley in our kitchen, yet alone in a garden to feed our family. And then how to heal using food as medicine, because we can. But I think it's very hip hop. If you were to call something hip hop, it's very hip hop for heads to be the source of the fire to raise the consciousness of the masses around.
I agree.
Around promoting veganism, not so you can become a vegan.
Yeah.
But so that you can understand the power of the food to heal your body.
Absolutely.
When something is happening, use the food first before you go to a bottle of pills.
No doubt. And also everything around it, like, you know, the fitness, the taking care of the planet, you know, that it goes beyond just us, you know, it's also us, but we're also connected to the animals, we're connected to the earth. You know what I mean? So I thought it was really dope. And we actually did a few things with Alexei in Cuba about that, you know, try to get the community, you know, we always work in the Afro-Cuban community, and we, you know, try to get the community conscious about to build their consciousness on that, you know, on everything we put into our body. And, you know, as hip hoppers, when we start getting up there, we got to take care of ourselves. You know what I mean? Even when we're young, but definitely when we start, you know. So I think it's great that they did that, the 10th element of hip hop. And definitely.
I mean, and you know, it was even more important now because when we start getting older, we start getting aging. But we're seeing how many people are suffering from disease.
No doubt.
The number of artists, dancers, and rappers and graph artists who, like, I know and DJs too, dying from disease. Disease that is preventable in many ways. Conditions that can be reversed are put into remission, but living a lifestyle that does not promote living.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's mainly, and the truth is, it's mainly our people. You know, it's people of color, and it's everywhere. It's the same, because in Cuba, we see it that the most people with diabetes and high blood pressure, it's mainly our people, darker people, you know, and it's a reality. So, and you know, and it's tough when you tell them, listen, you might want to chill out on the animal products. You know, it's difficult, but you know, it's something that has to be, you know, something that has to be.
I mean, well, I think anything, if any force can say that, is hip hop.
Yeah, I feel you.
And what I love it when you see, this is where I love when there are mainstream artists who use their platform responsibly.
Yeah.
Who understand that if I talk about doing this, it's going to reach 1 million people who might consider doing it as well.
Yeah.
Just that one conversation. I like, it was, what's the cat name? Waka Flocka.
Yeah.
When he talked about his lifestyle changes.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. That
was just the most beautiful thing, because then you go to the comments and you see people talking about it. Even if they're talking against it, they're talking about it. And if they're talking about it, it means that later they're going to be thinking about it.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's the agitation.
And also, I feel like the reason it makes so much sense is because the truth is, you know, it's been in the culture for a minute. Like you said, like, you know, a lot of hip hoppers were following Queen Afua, you know, years ago. You know what I mean? Yes. So that's just the truth. They were listening to Dick Gregory. You know, they were listening to the Rastas. They have fathers and uncles who were Rastas, who were telling them about Ital food at the beginning of the culture, ever from the beginning. And then you had KRS-One talking about, you know, don't eat the cow. That's the 80s. You know what I mean? So
well, and in the 90s, Dead Prez,
no doubt, and RZA, the RZA is also been, you know, a vegan for, I don't know, maybe 30 years. Also, Erykah Badu. You know, so all that, it's been in hip hop for a minute. So I think it's great that, you know, but listen, another thing that's been in hip hop for a minute since the beginning is basketball, right?
Yes.
And yeah, you know, I wanted to have the conversation because I know from the beginning of hip hop, you know, in the parks, you know, the ball's been bouncing, you know, the ball's been around there bouncing. And, you know, the game of basketball itself, the way it has become so poetic, I feel like is due to hip hop, you know, as if it was first invented as just a game where you had to put a ball inside a hoop, and it wasn't that poetic, it wasn't that creative, it wasn't hip hop at first, you know what I mean? But when the culture starts to rise and and it starts becoming a game of the streets and a game of the people, and you know, I feel like, but tell me a little bit about that. What do you think about how basketball connects to the culture? And, you know,
well, it's almost like, even when you watch basketball, there's something very poetic about the movement, right? Like it's like basketball, when you watch a good game or good players, it's almost like they're dancing, right? And you throw a beat on to just watching the game, it's something else. And it goes back to the beginning, you know, where some of the first jams were had on basketball courts, right? And then you had these connections. Look at Curtis Blow, right? That song, it was so much a part of the culture. He made a song where the chorus is, "We're playing basketball."
Oh, that's that jam. Yeah, that's that jam.
That's it, and that's the chorus. You know what I mean? And you remember as a kid, the sound of the balls bouncing in the gym, the smell of the gym, the music playing when you walked into the gym. It's hip hop. A lot of it was hip hop.
No doubt. Listen, even then we had Soul in the Hole. Remember Soul in the Hole?
Yes.
That was such, like, you would never be like, yo, this is hip hop and basketball. It was just kind of like one, you know. It's just like my favorite film, you know, He Got Game. Also, the whole thing is so hip hop, even though it's about basketball, but the whole thing is just, you know, hip hop. But you know, also when we talk about, like, I feel like ball players were like, you know, when we talk about basketball, it's like we're like, for example, a b-boy perfecting his craft. You know what I mean? You know how much a b-boy has to train, and he's on his craft, and he's constantly, you know, working on his craft and perfecting small things and this and that. It's just like basketball, you know. I also feel like, you know, when we talk hip hop, you know, and we talk what what hip hop is all about, you know, peace, love, unity, having fun, and these are the same things that go on with basketball. You know what I mean? You know, basketball helps bring peace. It's about unity. It's about, you know, people coming together, having fun. You know, it's also, you know, all these things. I just feel like, you know, it's really just connected as one. It's really, I mean, basketball is really part of hip hop. You know, it's really part of the culture. That's why when people talk about basketball culture, you know, I always tell them, listen, basketball is a game, you know, but the culture of basketball is hip hop. That's really the culture. There is a culture around basketball. The whole thing, the thing that is what, you know, that's what made it that. What other sport do you wear the sneakers that you used to play as fashion? You know what I mean? How people wear them like that out in the street.
Point.
You know what I mean? And what other sport? You know what I'm saying? What started that? What has taken that to the next level? That's hip hop. You know, and what other sport do you know? Ball players, we breathe it. We got mixtapes that came from hip hop too, and one started rising, and now today all the players have a little mixtape of themselves playing with some music in the background. All that is hip hop. You know, all that is hip hop.
And you think about how many songs referenced hip hop. I mean, reference basketball.
More than anything.
Hip hop songs. More than any other thing. I mean, it's like it's completely intertwined. Like there's no separation.
And the culture of teamwork, like I said, the culture of teamwork, the culture of hard work and dedication, which, you know, true ball players are about, you know. That's like hip hop, you know, teamwork. It's about our people. It's about your crew. It's about you and your crew, you know, coming together. It's about, you know, community. Like you said, hip hop is about community. Well, so is street ball, you know, so is basketball. We get together, you know, we hoop, we have fun, we do what we love, and we get something positive out of it because we're tapping into the 10th element as well, health and wellness.
Right.
So, you know what I mean?
No, it's real.
But let's bring it all together. You know, we talk basketball, we talk hip hop, and we're conscious that, you know, our culture is African culture, and today, well, you're joining us from Africa, and specifically from Dakar, right? And recently, the Basketball Africa League, you know, started their second season, right? They started their second season because the Basketball Africa League, for those who don't know, is a professional basketball league that started in Africa. And it is actually in partnership with FIBA, with the International Federation of Basketball, and with the NBA, with the National Basketball Association, right? So last season was the first season, 2001. And Zamalek was the ball club that won the championship last year, a great ball club from Egypt that won the championship. And actually last season, J. Cole played. J. Cole played in that season, and he you know, people were expecting him to, you know, to be this amazing player. He's a good ball player, though. You know, people were saying, oh, he wasn't that great, this and that. It's true. He wasn't out there scoring 30 points. But when you looked at him personally, I saw him play. When you look on the court, he doesn't look like he shouldn't be out there. You know, he wasn't standing out like one of the best, but you know, you can tell he's a ball player. He knows what he's doing.
You can tell. I was highly impressed. And What's exciting about the Basketball Africa League, you know, which is part of the NBA and FIBA's, you know, goals to spread sports across the continent of Africa, is that it's providing opportunity for African athletes who never got an opportunity to shine.
Absolutely.
But it's also bringing folks home from other countries. Descendants of Africa coming to Africa to play at home. So it's, you know, it's economic growth, it's bridge building, and it's part of it is going to lead to more repatriation, you know, folks coming back to Africa. And I think that what other thing, you know, is more powerful than that? Basketball.
No doubt.
And people try to write off sports in a way that I think is just so disrespectful. When look how basketball brings us together.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
Right?
No doubt. And in Africa, there's so many great ball players. It's just that they don't get the looks because they don't get the opportunity. They always feel like they have to go, you know, somewhere.
Right.
They have to get out. They have to go to the States, preferably, or somewhere else, you know.
Yeah.
You know, but now they'll get an opportunity to get seen and to want to play there, that's the great part about this league, that, you know, the ball players are actually going to be able to, you know, get seen right in their country, and they have an opportunity to play at a great level, because this is a good level. It's a very good level. The professional ball players that, you know, it's a high level, and the goal is to take it to an even higher level, and I'm sure they'll do it. The goal is, I've heard him say, the goal is really to make it like the second best league after the NBA, which is very possible. But
it is possible. And you know what else I'm excited about is watching how many girls and women who hoop are also kind of, I mean, I think that's next, right?
No doubt.
That's next, because you're seeing a lot of female players being able to get opportunities to play professionally, to pay for college.
No doubt.
And university. And so I believe that's what's next.
The women's game is starting to grow, and it's about time. It's about time. But listen, because unfortunately, you still got women in the WNBA, for example, that have to still go play in Europe to make enough money to live. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. I know that the WNBA doesn't make NBA money, but they still have enough money to pay their athletes enough so that they can, you know, just do that.
A living wage. Come on now.
Come on. Yeah, that's.
I love. I think was it Draymond Green who spoke out on it. Oh, I love it. I love it when I see men speaking truth to power about women. And that needs to happen more.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, absolutely. It would be amazing to see a woman basketball Africa league out there. That would be amazing. But I think, like you said, I think that's coming as well. Yeah. But listen, there's one thing though that I do feel like, there's one thing that I'm not so sure about, you know.
Right.
The African in me, the Afro descendant in me, you know, would love it if this league was 100% independent. You know what I mean? Okay. If this league wasn't tied to FIBA and to the NBA. Why? Because see, it's a give and take, because at the same time that gives them somehow it gives them more exposure. You know, it gives them more exposure, and it gives them, I guess, let's say, money, gives them more money to be able to develop.
Resources.
You know what I mean? Resources. But really, a huge part of what's going on today still in this world is that we can't get away from this neo-colonialism. You know what I mean? And being tied to the NBA again means that, again, like, you know, there's going to be, I'm going to call it like it is. There's going to be rich white men somewhere else, you know, making the big bucks when the league starts blowing up. You know what I mean? And it ain't going to be African people. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only negative side I see to it, which still kind of bothers me. You know, it's still kind of.
I think, you know, I think it is. I think it does, though, come down to resources. I feel you, though. I feel you, because NBA players could have financed the league in Africa and, you know, kept it completely independent. I had a chance to go to a couple of games at the Car Arena since I've been here in Senegal. And it was pretty, and it was pretty exciting just to witness it, you know, to witness it live. And because, you know, when we gather African people, it's going to be African. And and so that was exciting to feel the energy of the crowd, the announcer. As a matter of fact, the announcer here in Senegal, YD, is the producer and creator of the Hip Hop Awards here. And he just did a big documentary on hip hop's connections to Africa that he's going to be releasing, I think, next year. And its connection to Africa. And so it was really cool to see hip hop was right in the center of the Basketball Africa League launch.
That's how it is. That's how it is. Listen, I saw a couple games of this season. By the way, this season, the first phase started in Dakar and in Cairo on March 5th. right? On March 5th.
Yes.
And it's actually over. The first phase is over. So now, unfortunately, the Dakar Club did not make it to the playoffs. I believe they didn't do so well. But a team that is doing very well is the Rwanda Energy Group, team from Rwanda. They're killing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to seeing them play in the playoffs. The playoffs are going to begin on May 21st, and it's one game elimination. So that's going to be really exciting. One game, you lose, go home.
You're out.
You know I mean, so it's like March Madness. It's like March Madness. So it's going down, and it's gonna be in Kigali. It's gonna be in Kigali. So I know Kigali be popping.
Right.
So So and really, this team, I'm telling you, the Rwanda Energy Group, they're gonna have home court advantage, really, because that's their home court in Kigali. Yeah. So it's gonna be exciting. I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the rest of it. I'm looking forward to it. And
me too.
Anybody that's interested in watching the games, you could go on the Basketball Africa League website and you can check out all the games from the first phase and also when the playoffs begin. So definitely I recommend you check it out.
But it was exciting to be here. And which, I've experienced hip hop on the continent for over 20 years. So I know what that feels like from the hip hop festivals, but to experience basketball, like real basketball, professional basketball, was pretty amped. I was amped.
No doubt. I feel you.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, listen, Toni, before we get out of here, this thing I like to do. This thing I like to do on the show. I feel like one of the things that we kind of start doing as a whole, as a society or as a people, something that we should have never stopped doing is reading books, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's key to our education, because a lot of our people now are getting their education from a 2-minute clip or a 30-second clip, and then they think they know about something. But really, we need to study books. We need to read books, study books, and get the knowledge, because without the knowledge, we're done, right? So I want to do a little book recommendation. It could be a little book. It could be something special, something that you feel like has something to do with what we talked about, or not, just something that you want to recommend the listeners.
The book I recommend to listeners. I think about, there's several books that I love that I feel like are must reads, but the one I tend to tell people the most, especially people who are on a journey, people who are on transition. There's a lot of folks, the pandemic has inspired them to live and to emancipate themselves from mental slavery, to break away from corporate plantations, to launch their businesses, to study what they actually wanted to study in the first place, to start family that they were afraid of, to get married or to get divorced. People are in transition, and I think
they're making moves.
They're making moves. And so the book that always comes up for me first is one of my favorite books that I've read about 20 times. I haven't read it in about 5 years, but maybe I'll revisit it because I'm in my own journey. It's The Alchemist by Paolo Coelho, who is a Brazilian writer. And I just feel like that book, I had an argument with somebody in the literary world, a writer friend, who thinks the book is not that great. But opinions, everybody got one. But it's one of my favorite books because it's about conquering what's in your way. It's about how to navigate the blocks and the challenges, how to overcome obstacles, and about staying true to your purpose. In the book, it talks about your legend, which for me is like your purpose, the one that it was already written. And a lot of us betray that purpose. A lot of us betray our calling because we're afraid of failing. We're afraid of making mistakes. We're being a perfectionist. We're afraid of what other people are going to say about us. We are following what our family is decided for us instead of what our soul and our God has chosen for us. It's bigger than just living your dream. Right? It's doing, and on that path, you're going to have pain, you're going to have failure, you're going to have disappointment, you're going to experience betrayal. But when you arrive, when you get into flow and you start manifesting, you'll be able to just ride the wave.
No doubt.
Ride the wave. And so I'm riding a wave with a few bumps still in the road. So I'm even more passionate about the Alchemist than I ever was before.
That's amazing. My mother actually gave me that book when I was a little younger.
Yes.
May she rest in peace. But yeah, no doubt. It's an amazing book. It's an amazing book. And listen, I want to recommend, since we're on hip hop today, since we're on our culture, I want to recommend none other than
the Gospel of Hip Hop. Yes. KRS One
by the Blast Master, the teacher. Yo, this book is really good. This book is really good.
Yes.
And it's way ahead of his time because he wrote it some time ago. But this book is amazing, really. So check it out. If you love hip hop, or you're into hip hop, or you consider yourself a hip hopper, definitely check out The Gospel of Hip Hop by KRS-One and The Alchemist. But listen, before we go, I just want you to please tell the audience, tell these beautiful people what you're up to, what you've been doing, what you're doing, what you're working on, and how they can reach you. You know, your socials, your websites, whatever, how they can get to you. And
yes, beautiful people. Okay, beautiful people. You can reach me via Instagram at Toni Blackman, ToniBlackman. I'm also on the Twitter, the Facebook, the TikTok. My website is ToniBlackmanPresents.com, and shoot me an email, drop me a DM. I check them. And right now I am working on a project in Senegal. I'm based out of Brooklyn, New York. And my goal is to also be based out of Senegal eventually. I'm affirming that I am a bicontinental woman, and I'm fulfilling my purpose in my relationship to the African continent and bringing as many Black folks from the diaspora home as possible. I got this calling at 18. I've been on a mission, and I'm releasing music, my hip hop meditation music. I recently released a video for my song, I Love and Approve of Myself. It's hip hop meditation, it's mindfulness, it's affirmation music. And that's what's up. So follow me on Instagram to see content. You can check me on YouTube for my How to Freestyle series.
And I wanted to talk about that one because I've been checking that out, and it's so dope. The How to Freestyle series. That made me want to start freestyling. I was feeling like back when I was with my boys back in college, when we were on the streets in Cuba, you know, doing the little cycles. Yo, soon as I started listening to that series, that's so dope that you did that. So definitely check it out, yo, on Toni's YouTube, the How to Freestyle series. That's really dope. Yeah.
Thank you. Yes. And thank you for having me. I'm really excited about your podcast.
All my pleasure.
And what you're up to. It's dope to connect with a fellow MC, fellow artist, hip hop head, and hoop head. You know, it's dope.
Yeah, for sure, Toni. Well, you know, thank you so much. And blessings to you and all your loved ones. And we stay connected, no doubt. We got a lot to do.
Yes. So stay healthy. All right.
Ashe. Peace.
I'm sending love to your family. Peace.
Yeah, peace. All right, no doubt. This has been a great show. Episode number 2 in the books with Toni Blackman. Make sure you check her out. Make sure you follow her. Make sure you also check out the show, Vital Hoops Podcast. Check us out everywhere on social media. If you want, you can also write us, shoot us a little email at vitalhoopspodcast@gmail.com. Stay connected. We got a lot coming soon, all right? And remember, Vital Hoops is for the culture. Peace.